loves, and welcome back to my channel. So I just did a haul from Five Below, CVS, some other different places, and I found these palettes, the Smokey Palette, and I also found one called the Bear Palette, and I opened them and I showed you guys how I thought they looked so much like the Urban Decay Naked Palettes that I would do a review for you and a tutorial so that you could see how they operate. So I am going to be doing a tutorial on the Naked 1 palette, the original, and how it compares with the Smokey palette. So first off, look at how similar those colors are. Now they're not all exactly the same, but you can definitely see all the similarities. Like look at the last few, and they have a lot of similar colors in here. I'm gonna do full swatches for you soon, but first let's go ahead and jump into the tutorial. So the first thing that I wanna do is prime both eyelids, and I'm gonna use my NYX eyeshadow base for this. And I'm just gonna put this all the way up to the brow bone. And then we're going to start with the Naked palette tutorial first. So I'm going to do one eye with the Naked palette and one eye with the Smokey palette. So I'm going to take a flat shader brush and this silver right here. So just take some of that on my brush. And I think I can use my Naked palette mirror. It's not a massive mirror like the new Naked palettes have, but it is big enough that I think I can use it. So I'm just going to place this all over my lid. And I'm going to do this is going to be like a pretty basic kind of Kim Kardashian smoky eye. So just put that all over the lid there. Want to make sure I get up against the lash line. Just like that. Now I'm going to flip my brush over and I'm going to take the black right here. And sorry, that first color, so the silver was called Gunmetal and the black is called Creep. I'm just going to take one swipe of that. Look how pigmented that is on the Naked palette. So just one swipe, and I'm going to put this in the outer portion of my eye. So just pat that in just so we don't get any fall down. I just filmed a highlighting and contouring video, so I really don't want to have to redo my foundation. I like it now. The glamorous highlight and contour. It's actually perfect foundation for a Kim Kardashian kind of tutorial. So I just put that up in my crease just a tiny bit. Take a little bit more of that black and pat that in. Now I'm going to take a blending brush. This is actually from Real Techniques and I love it. It's called the Duo Fiber Eye Brush, but it's a great blending brush. So I'm just going to really gently blend out that black towards the crease. You can see how seamless those kind of blended together here. We'll go over them a little bit. You can see how that gets like so pretty and smoky out in the outer corner. Then I'm going to take a touch of Naked right here on my blending brush, same blending brush, and I'm just going to use this to soften that line. And then a tiny bit of Virgin right here on just a really short shader brush, and I'm just going to use this as my highlight. And I'm just going to kind of blend that out just with my finger. I'm going to go back to my short shader brush here and grab a tiny bit more of that black. Tap that off, but I'm just going to run this right in the outer corner of the eye. Push it back just a touch, just to add that smoke to the lower lash line. Short shader brush, a little bit of that silver, just because I don't want that black to get muddled with the silver. And just place that right where the black is, and push that into the inner third of the eye. I'm cleaning off my brush here because the last thing I want to do is grab some of Virgin again and just put that in the inner corner just to highlight that area. Just like that. So this is the Urban Decay eye. I will show you more of a comparison once we finish the other eye, but let's go ahead and use the Smokey palette on the other eye. First thing I'm going to do is clean off all my brushes because I'm going to use the exact same brushes to make this a very fair comparison. Okay, so I cleaned off all my brushes. Let's go to our Smokey palette. So I'm going to first take, there are two grays in this palette versus the one in the Urban Decay palette. I'm going to take this lighter gray. I don't know if you guys can see, it's a little bit chalky. but you can see the pigmentation is pretty good. I'm going to use this little mirror. It's actually about the same size as the Urban Decay mirror. So, right away, and I had tested these, but right away the pigmentation is very, very good. I'm really impressed with the pigmentation of the silver. It's very similar to the Urban Decay. It does have a little more blue in it, and it's a little bit darker. Make sure you get it all the way down by your lashes. And don't forget to tap this off if you're using this palette, because they are a tiny bit more chalky and we don't want to have to redo our foundation, or you can always do your foundation second. Then I'm going to grab some of that black, so flip that brush over. See how pigmented that is? Looks really good and nice, just a little bit chalky. Make sure you tap it off. You even need to tap off high-end eyeshadows when you're using dark colors if you've already done your foundation. Or you can always just do your foundation second. So just placing this in the outer portion of the eye. Then towards the crease again, just like we did with the Urban Decay shadow. So we can smoke it out and make it a nice smoky eye. Blending brush. Gently sweep it in. You guys can see though that the pigmentation of those colors are good, like they're not bad at all. Now, the one complaint I do have is there is not a matte shade in this palette to blend out the upper portion, just to kind of help with that line. So it's not 100% necessary. I like doing it, but we are just not going to use it to stay true to this look here. Short shader brush. I am going to use this color here. It's the creamiest looking color. It looks more like Virgin. Now, if you guys can see, whoops. I don't know if you guys can see, but it is quite flaky. So I'm not sure. I don't really like the quality of that shadow. It's not creamy. But let's just see what the pigment is. So, looks kind of similar. The pigment's nice, but it's incredibly flaky, and I'd say borderline very hard to work with. So we'll put that there. Go back to our brush, take a little bit more of the black. Outer third of the lash line there. Then our short shader brush, back to that dark silver. I'm not gonna, it's kind of hard to hold it up and show you guys. So taking some more of that silver. Then a little bit more of that light color here. Same short shader brush. And using that to highlight the inner portion of the eye and the inner corner. But I also have some fallout on this side as well. So I'm just going to take a little fan brush and just kind of use that to brush it away. Hopefully that'll work for me. So I added some mascara, and you guys can see that the eyes actually look very similar. I'll close my eyes so you guys can see. But the pigmentation is very similar in both palettes for the darker shades. I'm going to do full swatches for the other shades so that you guys can see it. But I did want to kind of do a tutorial. So this is the Urban Decay eye. This is the Bare eye. Very similar. I don't think you can tell a massive difference. There's a little bit of chalkiness with the Bare palette, but there's still a little bit of fallout from the Urban Decay as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the colors in the palette to see if those are worth it, because these clearly are very, very good, but I want to look at the palette overall and see if it's worth it. Okay, so here are the shades for the Naked One palette. So I accidentally had to do the last three over here, but we'll start right here. This is Virgin, Sin, Naked, Sidecar, Buck, Half Baked, Smog, Dark Horse, Toasted. Then we have Hustle, Creep, and Gunmetal. So you can see all the shades there. Now I want to go over the shades for the Bare palette. Okay guys, so here are the shades for the Bare palette. 1 is here and 10 is down here. They don't have names, so I don't have anything to go over with you, but you can see the difference in pigmentation. I'm also going to have comparison pictures, and I'm going to show you kind of side by side how this compares to the Urban Decay shades. I hope my camera is in focus here. I keep thinking it's out of focus, but I think it's just because these shades are not that pigmented. So I did the same amount of swatches that I did for the Urban Decay, like running my finger twice over the shadow and then putting it on my arm here. And they are incredibly chalky. I just wanted to show you guys up close. Look at what happens when you do that. And then in this one, they just get really, really, really chalky. Can you guys see how chalky they are in there? Okay, so those are the swatches, and I'll take a picture for you guys so you can see them side by side. Okay, so now you guys have seen all the swatches from the Smokey palette and the original Naked palette. Where is it? Here. And my final thoughts on these palettes is that if you can afford the Naked palette, this one is obviously better. It's got more shadows in it, but for $5, this is not a bad palette. And I know that a lot of you left me a message saying that Emily Noel 83 reviewed these, and I just think her reviews are amazing, and I totally trust her. She reviewed 2 different palettes, just so you know. I know they're probably very similar, just have different names, but they are a little bit different. Now, these are chalky. You're going to deal with fallout, and you're going to deal with a little bit more of a mess, but if you tap it off and you just take a little bit more time, you can still create really nice looks with this palette from Five Below. So if you're on a really tight budget, this is not a bad dupe for the Naked palette. Is it the exact same quality? Definitely not. But you can see I did create a look using both palettes on each eye that looks very, very, very similar. So certainly if you need a cheaper alternative, this is not a bad palette. This is, however, a little bit better. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I was going to review these for you, the Bare eyeshadow palette compared with the Naked 2 palette. Let me show you the colors very quickly. So this is the Naked 2 palette here, and I'll just do it in comparison with the Bare palette. Again, same thing, Naked 2 has 12 shadows and the Bare palette only has 10. But you can see that they are, oh my gosh, one of my Naked shadows just fell out. Did you guys see that? Just totally fell out. What the heck? Well, that's annoying. Oh my gosh, why is it falling out? So now I can't lift it up quite as well just to hold that stupid shadow in there. But you can see they're very similar in shadow colors. It's a lot of creamy pinks, browns, coppers, golds. Since this is the exact same thing in kind of comparison, and I'd have to say the exact same things about them both, I'm not going to do a separate video on it, but I hope that you guys still enjoyed this video and that it helped you out. Have a fantastic day, and I will see y'all next time. Bye!